Here we have some more Godzilla vs. Kong news, this time a theory that could point to how Kong is going to be powerful enough to be able to hang with Godzilla. So again, this is an article from Bounding Into Comics. I'll go ahead and link it in the description below for those of you that want to go ahead and check that out for yourselves. But let's go ahead and go over this here, and I'll give some thoughts along the way here. New Godzilla vs. Kong theory explains how Kong could get on Godzilla's power level. Interesting. So Kong grows bigger in the slog fest of the year, Godzilla vs. Kong, to match his rival size. We've known this for more than a year, and it was confirmed in Warner Media's Comic-Con Experience Brazil presentation footage. So, of course, for those of you that have been following Godzilla vs. Kong, we know that Kong Skull Island was placed, that was set in the 1970s, right? So that's a younger Kong, a seemingly much more inexperienced Kong, but a younger Kong that is not, hasn't reached his full potential just yet, right? Still a young guy, just kind of still learning the ropes and becoming tough. But in that one, he's much smaller, right, than what he's supposed to be at. So we know that, of course, in order to match Godzilla, given the 40 plus years that he would have to grow and become more powerful, and this kind of explains a little bit of that here, or theorizes a little bit of that here. So, but Kong might get powered up more to become Mega Kong, going by the Playmates toys and speculation surrounding how much they reflect the movie's actual plot. So as we know with toys, this is always something, right? Toys, when they're released before the movie, they kind of can spoil some things sometimes regarding if somebody's gonna, a character's gonna be powered up or is gonna look a certain way, things like that, designs, all that stuff. So I guess people that have seen at least some of the images of the toys initially are speculating because of that stuff. I haven't seen any of that yet, so I'm staying away from that stuff because I want to know as little as I possibly can going into this movie. But I'll continue on here. The prevailing theory is Kong will feed on the copious radiation similar to Godzilla beneath Skull Island, having adequate time since the 1970s when Kong Skull Island is set to do so. That could explain his Hulk up. Exactly. Radiation, however, is not Kong's typical nourishment. We saw him eat an octopus in the Monsterverse for one thing, so we know he omnivorously relies on what his environment provides. And depending on how serious you take the varying adaptations and parodies on the big ape, he eats people too. Given the variety in his diet and supposed ability to absorb raw energy, there might be another explanation to see Kong energized in the literal sense. In his toy appearances, he has derived benefits from the aid from electricity, as in being struck by lightning like the flux capacitor. It's a twist unique to his Japanese incarnation, a leftover from the unmade King Kong vs. Frankenstein, dubbed Prometheus in some pitches. Down for the count, Kong would receive a random jolt and get back up to fight. So yeah, for those of you that have seen King Kong vs. Godzilla, the 1960s one, that was kind of how he was able to match Godzilla, by absorbing electricity, taking the the electrical wire, biting into it, and just it was ridiculous. And I remember even watching it back when I was a kid, thinking that it was kind of silly, but they had to do something to make it, I guess, believable that Kong had a source of energy just outside of just being this huge ape, that there was something that could help him in a battle against a radioactive powered giant lizard, right? So we'll continue on here. The same thing happened to the G-Man off and on throughout the Showa and Heisei period. A taste of irradiated lightning revived Godzilla in his first second-gen outing, The Return of Godzilla, recut and released as Godzilla 1985 in the US. So we'll go on here. We don't know if Kong gets a jump this time around from a lightning bolt, though lightning is conspicuously in the background of much of the fan-made and concept art. I mean, it could still be in there, right? Why not? I mean, it would be a funny little callback, right, to have Kong go ahead and feed on electricity, maybe in a different way, maybe in a way that doesn't seem as corny. I don't know. But I guess we could see, or maybe he just gets struck by lightning in one instance, right? What if they did that? Where there's just one moment where he gets struck by lightning and it wakes him up or something, and that's kind of the little Easter egg there for the King Kong versus Godzilla 1960s movie. So hopefully they won't do that, though. I hope they find another way to get him powered up. But could there be a substitute? YouTube channel Sci-Fi Explained thinks so. In a what-if scenario, the moderator postulates the energy from King Ghidorah's gravity beams, his primary weapon fired like lightning from his three heads, could be used to juice Kong. That's interesting. I have not watched this video yet, but I might have to check that out. But that would be, I think, a more creative way to go than just having him be powered up by lightning or going to an electric power company and just grabbing hold of, the wires there and being juiced up like that. So I think that is a much more creative way, I guess, to get him boosted up with some kind of energy, right? Ghidorah's severed head, salvaged from the waters of Mexico, was purchased by eco-terrorist Alan Jonah at the end of Godzilla King of the Monsters, teasing Monster Zero for future movies. Yes, and that's the indication I got too. Now, based on what I've been reading regarding the last article I saw and stuff like that, it looks like maybe Mecha King Ghidorah is not something that will necessarily appear in this next movie, unless maybe they do it at the end or something like that. But I still hope maybe there's a chance that he could show up in that, but we'll have to wait and see. While not an indication Ghidorah will regenerate in time for Godzilla vs. Kong, Jonah or Monarch could tap into the head as a power source, say for Mechagodzilla, that winds up helping Kong and giving him an edge. Not bad. Remember, Ghidorah's beams were a formidable threat to Godzilla in battle that we have evidence Kong puts a hurting on the King of the Monsters. He may do that with the battery power drawn from Ghidorah. Again, that'd be an interesting way for him to get juiced up, right? Some spoilers claim Kong and Godzilla fight twice. The first bout could leave Godzilla thinking he has the uncrowned king permanently beaten. Kong then, coming into contact with the gravity beam energy after, returns for round 2. Kong might even win, slaying the reptilian giant, a fear shared by a few in sci-fi's Godzilla form. Other fear human characters will make the monsterverse woke. Both are possible, but let's wait and see. I hope they don't do that, right? What do you think of Kong, of the Kong power-up theory? Be sure to let us know in the comments. So here's what I think. I don't think they're going to kill off Godzilla. I think that would be foolish. I mean, it is possible that he just defeats him and maybe you don't see Godzilla again for a while, but I see no upside to them having Kong just kill him, right? If their battle is one that's to the death. I think we'll see a scenario where, again, and this is something that I had theorized before too, that yes, they fight more than once in this movie. One gets one over the other, and maybe heading into the third round, they're both 1-1, and winner takes all in the third round, right? Or maybe they leave it open where you just kind of have to draw your own conclusion from the ending and just kind of leave it ambiguous like that. I think that's another possibility for this, but I just don't see any scenario where they have him kill Godzilla. I think that would be a very unpopular decision. Not only that, you want to continue to see Godzilla in this monsterverse they're creating, and potential other movies where they might team up together as buddies, have a buddy kaiju movie, who knows. That would be interesting, again, where maybe they have to team up once more to fight an even bigger threat. But from the way I see it, that seems to be the most logical outcome of this movie, is that they'll fight each other and then they'll have to team up to fight an even bigger threat, something that threatens the world more than their fight, right? So that's what I would like to see. Who knows what Legendary is going to do with this stuff. Again, as I said in the last video, it would make sense for them to really try to build something around Kong, because again, these other characters, Godzilla, Rodan, Ghidorah, and all of them, these are characters that are being licensed, right, from Toho. So by them kind of making Kong the centerpiece of this monster universe, there's a lot more that they could do, a lot more original things that they could do with it. But I would like to see Godzilla stick around in that monsterverse and some of these other monsters that they've licensed, and hopefully that's what will happen. I hope there's not any premature deaths of any of these kaiju that they're creating this monsterverse for. But what do you guys think of this? Do you guys like the idea of him getting juiced up again with some form, I guess, of electrical power, or do you think it's still a stupid idea? It didn't work in the 1960s, and it still doesn't work now. Let me know in the comment section below, and until next time, y'all know how it goes. The hunt continues.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
If you like this video, please be sure to give it a like, share, and comment below.